Have you ever wondered why some people just don't respect you? Why, even when you go out of your way to be polite, accommodating, and avoid problems, they still treat you like you're invisible? Let me tell you why. There are three mistakes that might be completely sabotaging how others see you. These mistakes are subtle but incredibly powerful. And the worst part? Most people don't even realize they're making them. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what these mistakes are and, most importantly, how to fix them. But before we dive in, hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel because here we get straight to the point to transform your life. Let me be real with you. Respect isn't something you earn by being nice. Respect is something you demand. The brutal truth is, if you're being ignored or treated like a joke, it's because you're allowing it. Harsh? It's meant to be. And before you think I'm just here to criticize, let me tell you something. I've been there. I used to be that guy who did everything to be accepted, to please everyone, and at the end of the day, all I got were scraps. Until one day I realized the problem wasn't the world around me. The problem was me. For a long time in my life, I was the guy who needed validation for everything. If I had an idea, I'd ask everyone about it before making a move. If I was in a group of friends, I'd always try to please, agreeing with everything they said, even when I didn't agree deep down. I thought that if everyone liked me, they'd automatically respect me. But you know what happened? People liked me, sure, but they never respected me. I was the guy they'd call for help with a problem, but never to lead. And do you know why? Because I didn't exude confidence, and confidence is what generates respect. The first mistake is simple. You're asking for approval. When you constantly seek validation from others, you're saying, without words, that your opinions, values, and decisions aren't enough. You're putting others in control of your life, and no one respects someone who doesn't respect themselves first. How do you fix this? Stop asking for permission to live your life. Simple as that. If you have an idea, act on it. If you have an opinion, say it. Don't wait for others to validate you. Respect comes from the inside out, not the other way around. The more you trust yourself, the more others will trust you too. It might sound obvious, but it's one of the most common mistakes I see people make. And if you still don't believe me, try this. Next time you're in a group, share your opinion without hesitation. Watch how people start listening to you differently. Another huge mistake that completely destroys how others respect you is avoiding confrontation at all costs. Let me ask you something. How many times have you agreed with something just to avoid an argument, or stayed quiet about what you really thought because you didn't want to cause problems? If this sounds familiar, let me tell you something. This is killing your respect. I used to be this guy. I avoided confrontation like it was a ticking time bomb. If someone stepped on my toes, I'd act like nothing happened. If someone made a joke at my expense, I'd laugh along, even though it burned inside. And you know what happened? People noticed. They realized they could treat me however they wanted, and I'd never react. I was the guy everyone knew wouldn't cause any trouble. And instead of being a positive trait, it was the reason no one took me seriously. Avoiding confrontation sends a clear message. You don't value yourself enough to stand up for yourself. And if you don't value yourself, why should anyone else? Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you should become aggressive or start fights with everyone. It's not about that. It's about setting clear boundaries and making people understand that if they cross them, there will be consequences. How do you fix this? First, you need to identify your values and boundaries. What's non-negotiable for you? Once that's clear, it's time to start practicing. Next time someone disrespects you, take a deep breath, look them in the eye, and firmly say, no, that's not okay. It's simple but incredibly effective. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but every time you stand up for yourself, you're training people to respect you. And more importantly, you're training yourself to value who you are. The third mistake that destroys how others respect you is being too available. This is a mistake that catches many people off guard because being available is usually seen as a good thing. After all, who doesn't like someone who's always there when needed? But let me tell you a secret. The more available you are, the less people value your time and presence. I used to be the kind of person who'd drop everything to help others. If a friend needed help, I was there. If someone wanted to talk, I'd put everything aside to listen. At first, I thought this was a good thing. I thought if I'm always present, people will respect me more. But what happened was the exact opposite. people started to see me as someone easy to access, someone who didn't have their own priorities. And when you don't have priorities, you don't have respect. Being excessively available makes people see you as disposable. They think, oh, he'll always be there, so whatever. And that's what destroys the respect you're trying so hard to build. How do you fix this? You need to value your own time. Stop saying yes to everything and everyone. Start saying no. I know it might feel hard at first, but this is crucial. When you start being selective with your time, people automatically start valuing you more. They realize your time is precious, and that builds respect. Here's a simple exercise. In the next week, say no to at least one thing that isn't really important to you. It could be an invitation, a request for help, or anything similar. Try it and see how it changes how people perceive you. By addressing these mistakes, you'll not only command respect from others, but you'll also respect yourself more deeply. Now that we've talked about the 3 main mistakes that are stopping you from being respected, constantly seeking validation, avoiding confrontations, and being overly available, it's time to understand why it's so important to fix these now. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now, let me ask you something. Do you think respect is something that just appears out of nowhere? That one day people will wake up, look at you, and say, wow, this guy deserves all my respect? No, man. Respect is something you build brick by brick. It's the result of your actions, the way you carry yourself, and how much you value yourself. And if you keep making these mistakes, you're throwing away the opportunity to build something solid. Fixing these mistakes now means starting to change the way you see yourself. Because respect from others starts with the respect you have for yourself. Think about it. How can you expect someone to respect you if you're the first one not valuing yourself? If you're constantly shrinking, avoiding challenges, and letting others dictate how you should live? It's not going to happen. You need to show through your actions that you are someone worthy of respect. And here's another thing. The longer you take to fix these mistakes, the harder it gets. Why? Because habits solidify over time. The more you spend seeking validation, avoiding confrontations, or being too available, the more it becomes part of who you are. And changing that later will require way more effort. That's why you can't delay. Start now. Fixing these mistakes is also about self-awareness. It's about looking in the mirror and liking the person you see. Because deep down, respect isn't just about what others think of you. It's about what you think of yourself. Let me tell you something I learned the hard way. Until you respect yourself, nothing else will work. Your career won't take off, your relationships won't thrive, and you won't be able to grow. I know that sometimes it's hard to respect yourself. Maybe you look at your life right now and think, I haven't done anything important, I'm not good at anything. I've been there, feeling like a failure, thinking I'd never be able to earn respect. But the truth is, respect starts with the small things. It starts when you decide you're not going to settle for less than you deserve. When you choose to speak up, even if it means upsetting someone. When you decide your time is valuable and stop wasting it on things that lead nowhere. The good news is, you don't have to make huge changes all at once. You can start small. Fixing these mistakes is a process, and every little step counts. If you're still finding yourself constantly seeking validation, start keeping an eye on it. When you catch yourself waiting for praise or approval, stop and ask yourself, do I really need this to feel good about myself? If you've been avoiding confrontations, start standing up for yourself in small situations. You don't have to start by facing a big argument. Begin with something simple, like saying no when something truly doesn't make sense to you. And if you're being overly available, try setting aside some time just for yourself. Block out a few hours a week to focus on your goals and say no to anything that isn't a priority. Remember, every small step you take is another brick in building the respect you deserve. And every time you commit to this process, you're sending a powerful message to yourself and the world. I deserve respect. That mindset will reflect in your actions, and the people around you will start to notice. Most importantly, you will notice. Now that you've started fixing these mistakes and building a solid foundation of self-respect, it's time to understand the impact this has not just on your life, but also on your relationships with others. Genuine respect is like a high-value currency. It's not given easily, but when earned, it opens doors that once seemed locked. People respect those who know what they want, who stand their ground, and who aren't afraid to be authentic. When you start fixing these mistakes and showing more confidence in yourself, you're sending a clear signal to the world. You're no longer that guy who lives in the background, who bends over backward for others, or who's afraid to share his opinions. No, you're now someone who's in control, someone with a presence that inspires confidence. And here's what's even more interesting. Genuine respect attracts opportunities. People want to be around those who are respected, who are solid, who know where they're going. I'm not just talking about personal relationships, but also at work, in business, and in social circles. When you're seen as someone respectable, doors open, not because of luck, but because you've become someone who deserves to be there. You might be thinking, okay, I get it, but how do I actually do this in my everyday life? The answer lies in the small details. Respect isn't built all at once. It's forged in the choices you make every single day. It's like going to the gym. You don't get strong after one workout, but through consistency. So what are the actions that will make you respected? First, keep your promises, even if they're just to yourself. When you say you're going to do something and you actually follow through, you not only earn others' respect, but also increase the respect you have for yourself. Second, be honest and direct, but never disrespectful. It's not about forcing your opinion on others, but about expressing what you believe clearly and firmly. And third, value your time. Start recognizing what deserves your attention and what doesn't. When you learn to say no to things that don't add value, you create space to focus on what truly matters. One of the most frustrating things when you're trying to change is not knowing if you're making progress. You start fixing the mistakes, but you might not see immediate results. And that's when many people give up. But let me give you a tip. Progress isn't always visible right away, but it's happening. A way to measure your progress is by observing how people around you react. If you notice they start listening to you more and taking your opinions more seriously, that's a clear sign you're on the right path. Another indicator is how you feel inside. If you notice you're more confident and more comfortable being yourself, then congratulations, you're evolving. And remember, respect isn't something you earn once and keep forever. It's a continuous construction. It's like a garden that needs daily care. If you stop cultivating respect, it begins to fade. That's why you need to stay consistent and keep focusing on what truly matters. If you've made it this far, congratulations. It means you're committed to becoming a stronger, more confident, and more respectable version of yourself. And let me tell you something. The fact that you're here seeking knowledge is already a huge step. Many people don't have the courage to admit they need to change, but you do, and that's powerful. Now it's up to you. What are you going to do with the information you've learned? Will you ignore it and keep making the same mistakes, or will you start applying it to your life today? The choice is yours. But I guarantee you this, if you put into practice what you've learned here, you'll transform into someone who not only commands respect from others, but most importantly, respects themselves. And before you go, hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future content. Now click on the video appearing on the screen. I'm Noah, and I'll see you in the next video.